The state of the Cypriot economy right now, how would you characterize things?
Well, it's quite good, actually. We have been through difficulties in the last few years, but the Cyprus economy has achieved a remarkable recovery. We're growing with a rate of 3% of the GDP, and we operate with a balanced budget for the last few years. So things have improved significantly. The banking sector also has healed to a significant extent. So we are on a good path.
What would you characterize as the key drivers of that? Because obviously there are other Eurozone countries that continue to perform quite poorly economically after their bailout. So what's made it work for Cyprus?
Well, I would mention a couple of issues. First of all, we have some strong, promising sectors like tourism and shipping and business services which have performed strongly. But we're also very determined and very focused in establishing and maintaining a pro-business economic environment. We have not been raising taxes. We have been lowering taxes and offering incentives to business and investment, and this has worked, and it has delivered this strong rebound of the economy.
Let's talk about one sector in Cyprus, which is energy, and there's ongoing business for natural gas resources in the countries. What can you tell us about the latest round of bidding?
Look, we've just concluded, indeed, the third licensing round in Cyprus, and we have managed to attract some of the biggest names of the industry. Namely, we have been able to award a block to Exxon, together with Qatar Petroleum, Eni from Italy, and Total from France. And this goes very far to show the potential of the Cyprus exclusive economic zone, not only with regards to our waters, but overall in general, I would dare say, the Eastern Mediterranean, which is fast becoming an alternative source of supply for the European Union. And just to give you a number to put that into perspective, so far in the Eastern Med, we have had about 2,000 billion cubic meters of discoveries. The EU in 2015 consumed about 413 BCM. So you can see that while we have just started with the discoveries, the Eastern Med could soon become an alternative source of supply and routes, I dare say, to the European Union.
One potential source of anxiety for anyone thinking of investing in Cyprus is the failed peace talks or the stalled peace talks. How is that affecting business? The fact that there was hope on peace talks going into this year, they've since stalled. Where do things stand now, and do you see an economic impact from that?
Yeah, look, if it were to happen, if we were able to find a solution and to reunify Cyprus, obviously this would offer a huge boost to economic activity and to investment. But the record shows that finding good investment opportunities and ensuring an economy which is functioning and performing strongly is not dependent upon a reunification. So even though we are still engaged in an effort to achieve a solution, we're not reliant upon it. We have shown that the economy can achieve very satisfactory, very good growth rates even without a solution, and that's the main scenario. That's the main working scenario, that we shall not have a solution. If it comes, it will be an over and above boost.
And do you see any direct impact on the energy bidding or the energy sector from the status of the peace talks?
I have to say that so far, as my colleague has just mentioned, we have progressed quite well in everything that we do, whether it's for the first or second licensing round, indeed now the third, whether it is for the discoveries that we already have in Cyprus by American companies, by the way, Noble, to be more exact. So we will continue down that path, while at the same time we will continue to seek regional alliances so that we can create the stable, predictable investment environment needed for the offshore activities in the oil and gas industry.
I want to turn the attention to politics because, of course, that's dominating everything in the U.S. and in Europe. First of all, Brexit. The vote for the UK to leave the Eurozone has prompted a lot of companies to look for alternate places within the EU to set up business, whether especially financial companies. You talked about the success of Cyprus being owed in part to a pro-business stance. Do you see an opportunity for Cyprus to have businesses relocate there from the UK?
Yeah, I don't want to use the word opportunity when it comes to a very negative decision for the EU, one which we fully respect, of course, but I consider it as a negative development. So I wouldn't like to use a word which has a positive connotation. That said, and irrespective of the decision of the British people, which we respect, yes, we shall continue to work and to strive in order to improve the competitiveness and the attractiveness of Cyprus. We are an excellent destination to do business, to set up a base and to invest. So the advantages are obviously there.
Yeah, and just to complement what was mentioned, it's not like we are positioning Cyprus as an alternative to the UK, rather as a complement to the UK. So now that UK businesses will be looking for an EU base as well, Cyprus is the ideal location. And I have to be frank, we are working very closely with the British government exactly to promote that positioning for Cyprus, because we have very, very many similarities, whether it's the law, common law, or other kind of framework regimes.
And have you seen businesses, whether they're hedge funds, brokers, anything like that, talk to you specifically about the opportunity to set up, as you put it, a complement to their UK operations?
Well, all the time, but I wouldn't relate it especially to Brexit. We are in continuous contact with foreign business across the sectors. There is strong interest, and we are seeing companies setting up a base in Cyprus all the time. And obviously this is a process which we shall continue supporting with pro-business policies and the incentives and keeping macroeconomic and political stability.
Bigger picture, beyond Brexit, that's not the only country in the EU where there appears to be some sort of rising anti-EU tide, although perhaps that's a bit overstated. But from your perspective, how should the leaders of EU countries deal with this sort of ongoing threat to their legitimacy, the loss of confidence that people have, and the appeal of parties and politicians who want to roll back the project in some way?
Yeah, I would take the popular feelings very seriously, and my recommendation would be that we probably take a pause and reflect and consider very carefully any further steps in the direction of European integration, especially on European economic policy, staying away from unnecessary regulation and rules which do not add but rather burden the competitiveness of the European economies, and take only those steps which will enhance the productive capacity of our economies. Doing less probably, but doing it better would be my recommendation.
There's been, for years, there's been talk about further integration of the Eurozone countries on the fiscal front as a way to prevent the sort of two-speed Europe where some countries are thriving and some countries on the periphery are plodding along. Is that something that you think should be on the roadmap?
I would be very cautious. We have come a long way, but we should ensure that any further steps are well thought and always carry with them the popular will. It's no good making steps ignoring the feelings and the views of our people. We need to re-establish political legitimacy and democratic legitimacy, and that we cannot achieve by making leaps which go in the face of popular opinion. So I would be hesitant, I would be cautious, and I would take careful steps, well-thought steps, which enjoy broad support.
And how closely are you paying attention to, say, the beginning of the French election in April?
Well, obviously, France is a European leader, and we shall be closely watching what comes out from the election, and I do hope that the outcome will be one which will enable France, but also Europe, to continue making positive steps.